You are now entering Module 4, Chapter 15, Managing Incidents. Please review this section and complete the assignment with a minimum score of 80%.
We will review the ICS and NIMS process along with its importance and how we manage emergency incidents of all sizes. This will include ICS and NIMS features, functions, and responsibilities. The objectives are: explain how the Incident Command System was created, describe the National Incident Management System, explain the importance of responder safety and accountability within the Incident Command System, and identify the Incident Command System's features, functions, and responsibilities. NIMS provides a consistent format with common terminology, which identifies the proper leadership, titles, and the structure for an incident. It is very easy to expand or contract the ICS structure to meet the needs of the incident. Prerequisites for the EMS officer program included completion of ICS 100, 200, 700, and 800, so you should already be familiar with these concepts and terms. This chapter is a review with a focus on EMS implementation and coordination with other agencies and responders. To accomplish the objectives, you will describe the ICS structure, define common ICS terms, differentiate among groups, divisions, and branches, identify the leadership titles for ICS organizational elements, and identify the correct ICS structure for an incident. President Bush initiated the Homeland Security Presidential Directive No. 5 in February of 2003, which mandates the use of ICS in responding to an emergency incident. Its primary purpose is to provide for coordination of emergency response agency resources. Prior to 2003, emergency response agencies used various forms of ICS. The Incident Command System is a standardized response guideline for managing emergency incidents from an all-hazards perspective. This is based on proven practices and is used throughout the life cycle of any incident, standardization being the driving factor. Essential to emergency incident scene management is the management of emergency response resources, apparatus, personnel, equipment, and materials. ICS establishes an organizational structure for all types of emergency incidents. Officers must use ICS on all incidents, no matter how small or large they are. Using the system on small day-to-day incidents gives public safety officers the opportunity to practice using it so that when large or complex incidents occur, the system will not seem unfamiliar to emergency responders. Every member of the organization, but especially the EMS officer, must be familiar with the system and trained in its application. In addition, all agencies with which mutual aid or automatic aid agreements are enforced must know and use the same system. Common characteristics for the framework of NIMS and ICS provide for a manageable span of control, pre-designated incident facilities, comprehensive resource management, and personnel accountability. NIMS provides a consistent framework for incident management at all jurisdictional levels, regardless of the cause, size, and/or complexity of the incident. NIMS is not an operational incident management or resource allocation. NIMS represents a core set of doctrines, concepts, principles, terminology, and organizational processes that enables effective, efficient, and collaborative incident management. In the following slides, we will review the 5 NIM components. Effective emergency management and incident response activities begin with a host of preparedness activities. Preparedness or pre-planning should be an ongoing and in advance of any potential incident. Preparedness involves an integrated combination of planning, procedures and protocols, training and exercises, personnel qualifications and certification, and equipment certification, typing, or setting standard naming conventions for equipment and personnel types are part of the preparedness process. Emergency management and incident response activities rely upon communications and information systems that provide a common operating picture for all command and coordination sites. NIMS is based upon the concepts of interoperability, reliability, scalability, and portability, as well as upon the resilience and redundancy of communications and information systems. Resources such as personnel, equipment, and supplies are needed to support critical incident objectives. The flow of resources must be fluid and adaptable to the requirements of the incident. NIMS defines standardized mechanisms and establishes the resource management process to identify the requirements, order and acquire, mobilize, track and report, recover and demobilize and reimburse, and inventory those resources. The command and management component within NIMS is designed to enable effective and efficient incident management and coordination by providing flexible, standardized incident management structures. These structures are based on three key organizational constructs: ICS, Multiagency Coordination Systems, and Public Information. The two components of ongoing management and maintenance are the National Integration Center, or NIC, and supporting technologies. The NIC is responsible to manage ongoing administration and implementation of NIMS specification of compliance measures, and it is responsible for the standards and credentialing, training and exercise support, and publication management. Supporting technologies includes research and development. Ongoing development of science and technology supports the continual improvement and refinement of NIMS. There are 14 basic features of ICS. While we won't be discussing all 14 features in this module, you should recall them from your review in the ICS 100 class. Recall that they may include common terminology, modular organization, chain of command or unity of command, management by objectives, reliance on an incident action plan, manageable span of control, incident locations and facilities, and the establishment and transfer of command. A critical part of the effective multi-agency incident management system is that all entities be able to communicate with each other effectively. To promote communications, you must have the following: unified command, comprehensive resource management, information and intelligence management, integrated communications, accountability, and dispatch for deployment. A critical part of the effective multi-agency incident management system is that all entities be able to communicate with each other effectively. To promote communications, you must have the following: unified command, comprehensive resource management, information and intelligence management, integrated communications, accountability, and dispatch for deployment. ICS establishes common terminology, allowing diverse incident management and support entities to work together. Use of common terminology helps to define organizational functions, incident facilities, resource descriptions, and position titles. The ICS organizational structure is unique and easy to understand. There is no correlation between the ICS organization and the administrative structure of any single agency or jurisdiction. This is deliberate because confusion over different position titles and organizational structures has been a significant stumbling block to effective incident management in the past. Someone who serves as a chief every day may not hold that title when deployed under an ICS structure. An ICS modular organizational structure is developed in a top-down, modular fashion based on size and complexity of the incident. It is determined based on the incident objectives and resource requirements. Only those functions or positions necessary for a particular incident are filled. It has the ability to expand and contract in a flexible manner. When needed, several functional elements may be established. As a result, each element should have a person in charge. This is referred to as the chain of command. The incident commander is the individual responsible for the management of all incident operations. They are primarily responsible for formulating the incident action plan and coordinating and directing all incident resources to implement the plan and to meet its goals and objectives. The general staff consists of the following. The operations section is responsible for all tactical incident operations and includes branches, divisions, or groups, and single resource units. The planning section is responsible for the collection, evaluation, and dissemination of operational information and the preparation and documentation of the incident action plan. The logistics section is responsible for providing facilities, services, and material support for the incident. The finance/administration section is responsible for financial, reimbursement, and administrative services to support the incident management activities. Also includes the compensation for claims, procurement, the cost, and time units. The operations section is the most activated component of the general staff, with responsibility to direct all response and tactical actions to achieve the incident commander's objectives on a scene. The planning, logistics, and financial/administration sections are activated as needed to support the incident response as directed by the operations section. This chart shows an expanded ICS organization. As previously discussed, the ICS system is flexible enough to expand or contract as necessary to deal with an incident. Seldom does it expand to this level. But it is important to understand that you, as the first arriving officer, must establish command and begin to build the organization as needed. This chart shows a basic example of how you can better understand the 5 major functions of incident management. The incident commander makes the final decision on a task which the operations section must do, while the logistics section must get any additional resources needed to mitigate the incident. The finance/administration section will pay for these resources, while the planning section is thinking about future needs to deal with the incident. One of the biggest factors advocated by the ICS system is the fact that personnel report to only one supervisor. This prevents personnel from receiving conflicting assignments from other on-scene supervisors. This is known as span of control, which limits the number of subordinates that one supervisor can effectively manage. Variables such as proximity, similarity of function, and subordinate capability can affect that number. An effective span of control ranges from 3 to 7 subordinates per supervisor, depending upon the variables previously mentioned, with 5 considered being the optimum number. If an effective span of control is maintained, it is much easier for supervisors to keep track of their subordinates and monitor their safety. As an EMS Officer 1, you must account for your direct reports and their safety. Note the chart on the left, where the operations chief is responsible for 10 different components of this incident, while the chart on the right shows that the incident commander is only responsible for the operations section and the logistics section. Each of these section chiefs are only responsible for 2 or 3 components, well within the recommended span of control. The ICS system is a management tool within the command and management component of the NIMS structure. In an effort to ensure compliance with the NIMS requirement, local response agencies were required to adopt ICS in 2004 if they wanted to remain eligible for federal disaster assistance. There are 3 levels of training for emergency responders in order to maintain competence in NIMS. Awareness is the basic understanding of the various NIMS components. All EMS responders, including the EMS officer, should complete the most recent version of 4 essential courses: ICS 100, 200, 700, and 800. The advanced level concentrates on the command and management functions by senior public safety officers. All command and general staff should complete ICS 300 and 400. The practical level of training concentrates on position-specific courses to improve the capabilities of public safety officers. Any public safety officer, including EMS, fire, and law enforcement, regardless of rank, is expected to function as an initial incident commander within the ICS system. The first arriving officer has the responsibility to establish command and manage the incident until relieved by an appropriate transfer of command or until the end of the incident. ICS is based on a modular organization, which means that the organization develops from the top down as additional functions are added based upon the nature and scope of the incident. Developing from the top down means that the first arriving officer may initially perform all of the ICS functions required to control the incident. If the incident increases in size or complexity, the incident commander then delegates functions to other officers as needed, building the structure based on the NIMS/ICS model. In most cases, the first arriving officer becomes the incident commander and directs both the strategic and tactical operations. The initial IC remains in charge of the incident until properly relieved or the incident is terminated. The ICS organization grows and expands as the incident grows. However, it should only grow as much as needed to maintain recommended span of control guidelines for any individual with supervisory responsibilities. The first arriving officer on an incident scene shall make an assessment of the situation, referred to as a size-up, provide an initial radio report, request appropriate resources, and announce that command has been established. The EMS Officer 1 will usually learn this skill during MCI 1 and 2 classes. This is one example of the many different types of tactical worksheets which can be utilized on incident scenes to track the resources on scene and their assigned tasks and accomplishments. These tactical worksheets become invaluable after the incident is stabilized, during transfer of command briefings, and when completing the written reports. Refer to your agency leadership for the standard command worksheet used by your agency. As discussed earlier, the incident commander has a number of tasks which must be accomplished to mitigate an emergency. These functions include the following: determining the strategy, selecting incident tactics, setting the action plan, developing the ICS organization, managing the resources, coordinating those resources and their activities, providing for scene safety, releasing incident information, and coordinating with outside agencies. Unless he delegates them to a subordinate, the incident commander must see that all tasks are accomplished. It is important to mention that delegation does not relieve the IC from the overall responsibility. The incident commander, regardless of rank, should always be the most qualified person. When a higher ranking officer arrives on scene, they have the authority to assume, maintain, or transfer command to a third party. The incident commander should be visible and the position is always staffed during an incident. The incident commander should be located in a safe location, which is visible on the scene, where they can provide overall leadership, delegate authority, establish objectives, and ensure incident safety. If needed, the incident commander can designate a deputy IC to assist in the command post. When command needs to be changed to a more qualified individual, or for incidents that require additional operational periods, it will become necessary to exchange incident commanders or transfer of command. When transferring command, it requires that the current incident commander and his relief should conduct a briefing to allow the new incident commander to understand the current situation and what the plans for the next operational period include. The transfer of command should be announced over the radio so that all on-scene personnel and dispatch center are aware of who is now in command of the incident scene. Here is a review of the steps necessary to transfer command. An incoming incident commander must do the following: perform an assessment of the incident, be briefed adequately, determine the time necessary to transfer command, make a notice of a change in command, and give the previous incident commander another assignment. In large and complex incidents, there will be a need for the role of incident command to be shared by personnel representing multiple disciplines such as law enforcement, fire, rescue, EMS, the schools, emergency management, and so forth, where each agency represented has a specific role to play. A good example might be a shooting event at a local school. This will require the coordination of all agencies to resolve the incident. Police are handling the law enforcement requirements, while fire and EMS personnel are involved in handling the mass casualty incident, and the school is able to provide an accurate number of students and faculty that might be involved. This type of incident requires each involved agency to share the responsibility for bringing the incident under control. This is referred to as unified command. Each representative retains control of their respective personnel and functions, but collectively they work together to make appropriate decisions on a joint basis. The greatest benefit of unified command is the ability to work together at a shared location to coordinate all aspects of the planning process, coordinate their resource ordering to meet a single shared set of incident objectives. President Bush initiated Homeland Security Presidential Directive Number 5, which mandates the use of ICS in responding to and managing an emergency incident. Its primary purpose provides for the coordination of emergency response agencies and their resources. This provides for multiple levels of command functions, includes strategic level, tactical level, task level command, as well as division, group, and unit levels. The current incident management system evolved from FIRESCOPE and other fire-ground management programs. The first arriving officer has the responsibility to establish command and manage the incident until mitigated or relieved by another qualified officer. The incident command system is a standardized response guideline for managing emergency incidents from an all hazards perspective. This is based on proven practices and is used throughout the life cycle of any incident. Remember that tasks at an emergency incident can be managed by coordination between the operations, planning, logistics, and finance/administration sections under the direction of a single incident commander or unified command. Once command has been established, the incident commander will direct personnel to either investigate the situation further, initiate immediate actions necessary to save lives, or expand the response operation to deal with a large, complex, or dangerous situation. When the situation becomes more complex, the incident commander will find the use of a tactical worksheet invaluable in helping to keep track of resource allocation and tactics completed. Unified command allows multiple agencies to work together at a shared location to coordinate all aspects of the planning process and create a single shared set of incident objectives to coordinate resource ordering and to unify the public information message. This has been a simple introduction or review of the ICS process. As you continue to promote through the ranks, you will need to continue your training and practice in the incident command process. You have now completed Module 4. Please print your completion certificate as directed.